Right, like all live shows. Some things don't go as planned. We're trying to get hold of Maxime at the moment, so hopefully he'll join us in a moment. But I'm absolutely delighted to will be welcoming back the fabulous Dr. Tess Lawrie from the World Council for Health. Hello, Tess. How are you doing?
Hello, James. I'm very well, thanks. It's so great to see you both. And Gemma, Gemma worked a while with us with World Council for Health, and it's really lovely to see you both on TNT.
Yeah, and Tess, can you believe it? It was you and Maxime opened my first show back in January 2023. On one hand, I think it seems like years and years ago, but on the other, it just seems to have gone quite quickly, doesn't it?
Yes, and I feel really quite sad that TNT is closing, especially in this landscape or cutting the shows, because in the landscape of censorship and increasing legislation to limit the truth reaching people, it really is sad that TNT is having to reduce or close its doors.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. And I'll ask you what lessons you've kind of learned over the past 4 years, both you and Gemma, in a second. But for me, one of the lessons that I've learned through life over the years is that the conflation of foresight and hindsight, because you come across these junctions in life and you think, oh my God, this is a really bad thing, and what the hell is going to happen in the future? But then a couple of years later, you realize that actually the world is in a much better position now, and you're in a much better place. And none of it would have happened if it hadn't been for that juncture 2 years ago when that happened, when you looked. So I'm very, very optimistic about things, about TNT and what comes next, and also about the world. But Tess, you tell me, over the past 4 years, I mean, it's been a real ride for you, hasn't it? You were a consultant with the WHO, then the whole ivermectin thing happened, and you were catapulted onto the global stage. You set up the World Council for Health. What personal lessons have you learnt over the past 4 years that you'll take forward?
Well, really, to take each day as it comes, to very much be in the present, because things are changing at such a rapid rate. So I've learned really not to be afraid of change, to embrace it. And I can now see the massive opportunities that we all have now that our eyes are wide open and we're aware of, the globalist agenda, just listening to the clip you played before, just how we were oblivious to the power of the corporations on our lives. And I think now I feel very grateful that I am aware of that and can take active steps to address these in my daily life.
Yeah, exactly. It is tempting and quite easy at times, isn't it, to become pessimistic? But then you're absolutely right, Tess. This has been going on, all of this stuff behind the scenes, for a very, very, very long time. The wars in the Middle East, the war on terror, 9/11, all of that. And so it wasn't that things turned bad in 2020. It's just that I think they came out of the cupboard and suddenly the curtain was pulled back. And we can see now, which you're absolutely right, presents us with an opportunity to choose something different to what we've been doing. Gemma, same question to you.
Well, I mean, I can only echo Tess's comments, actually. And also, hi, Tess. It's so lovely to see you here. And, I did so enjoy my time at the World Council for Health. It was so wonderful to be catapulted into an organization working in the round and all the stuff we did, and the Second Better Way conference, which will stay with me forever. And lovely to see you here. But I'm very in support of what you've just said, of those tiny incremental changes we can make in our day-to-day lives. Change starts with the individual, each one of us. It's great to be part of a collective and activist movements, but choosing where you buy your food, choosing how you choose to spend your money, what little we have here in the UK, once we've paid our considerable taxes, is where it starts. Change starts with the individual and ripples out to other people that you come into contact with. Changes in the way you decide to interact with people that you might meet, the conversations you decide or don't decide to have with people. Will you engage with the latest celebrity drama that's being played out? We're seeing at the moment a narrative which is very convenient, I think, for the BBC, plugging this narrative about Mohammed Al-Fayed, who's now dead, being a prolific sexual predator and paedophile. Well, they had enough of their own sexual predators and paedophiles, one who was convicted this week. But suddenly the narrative has shifted as a distraction. What conversations do we want to have around those narratives with friends and family? Change does start with the individual and then spreads out and ripples through. So I agree with you, Tess. Day-to-day living is where it starts.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Gemma. And I'm absolutely delighted to announce the fabulous Maxime Bernier is with us. He is, of course, a former Cabinet Office Minister in Canada, now the leader of the People's Party of Canada. Hello, Maxime.
Hello, James. Thank you for having me.
Maxime, I had to have you on the show. Before you logged on then, I was just saying that you actually were the first guest that I ever had on the Freeman Report back in January 2023, and Tess was my second guest, so it seemed appropriate that we would do full circle and get you on this last show. Now, Maxime, you've been in politics for a long time, you've seen an awful lot, but I'm sure, like all the rest of us, the last 4 years have been a real journey for you. What lessons have you learned over the past 4 years from what's happened in the world that you'll take forward with you?
Yes, thank you for asking, and I'm very pleased to be with you for your last show. Thank you, James. And yes, we've met by Zoom during the COVID hysteria a long time ago, and I was pleased to fight for freedoms here in Canada. And what I learned from that, you cannot trust the government here in Canada or other government. Actually, when people are together and fight for a cause, you may be able to succeed. And we saw that in Canada during, the lockdowns and the stay-at-home orders, COVID-19. We decided, and the People's Party was the only national political party fighting against these draconian measures and for freedoms. And we did a couple of rallies, and that was a little bit discouraging that time. But fighting together for 2 years, and after that, we were able to be successful. We had the big here in Canada, the Freedom Convoy with the truckers. And that was, an example, I believe, for other countries to do the same. And so what I can tell you is when you are together, when you are fighting, when you are speaking the truth based on facts, you will win. You will win. It's a question of time, and that's what happened during that time. And now you have all the censorship that is here in Canada and in Europe and in the United States. You have the woke ideology. That's another cultural war that we must win, and we will win. More and more people now understand that these radical leftists are trying to destroy our Western civilization, and we have more people on board. We will win. It's a question of time. We need to be out there, and I'm very optimistic for the future.
Fantastic. A brilliantly optimistic answer from you there, Maxime. Now, we're going to take a short break for 30 seconds. Don't go anywhere, any of you. And also you out there, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 2 seconds right after this short break on TNT.
We don't rock. We talk. Today's News Talk TNT.
Right. Okay. Maxime, how dangerous a moment do you think this is in terms of world history, where we are right now?
Actually, we are making history right now, and us in Canada, you in UK, with Nigel and other politicians over there who are fighting for our freedoms, for our way of life, and in the state with President Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Something will happen in November. I don't know what will be the result of that election, but if you look at the data, the economic data in Europe, in the United States, and in Canada, these are big deficits. And the creation of money out of thin air. We have inflation. You have inflation in your country. Inflation is very bad. It's a tax. Our standard of living is going down. So we may have at the international level a new monetary order. So all that is happening at the same time when these governments are crushing our rights. So it's an historical time. We will change that together. It may take a couple of years, but we will be there. And actually, as the politician, being in that time and fighting for what is right, it's I think the history will look at us freedom fighters and saying, "Oh, these guys were there against these crazy ideologies that these leftists are pushing to us."
How about you, Tess? How much of a challenge do you think we are in right now in terms of historical context of the world?
I think there are great challenges, and one certainly, needs to be aware and recognize that humanity is in grave danger, and not everybody's going to get out of the danger. I think we are heading for almost a kind of a split, because you cannot fight what's coming, hand combat or head on. It's so powerful. The tech giants, the drug companies, the governments, the UN, these structures, the banking system that controls the whole lot. It's so powerful that what we really need to do is establish a better way and establish the new systems. And one has to, as I say, we have a little slogan that says, you can't comply your way out of tyranny, and you can't react your way out of tyranny and just get angry and protest and all that stuff. You actually have to create your way out of tyranny. And so it's in that creation of the new. What does the new look like? We don't want the old back again. We really need to create new systems and that are non-hierarchical, that are decentralized and ethical. So I'll leave it.
And in my introduction, I said both of you have got bags of integrity, both you and Maxime, Tess, and also, you are trying to make the world a better place. Maxime, quickly, we've got about 2 minutes each now. Tell us what you're doing to make Canada better with the People's Party of Canada.
Yes, we are telling the truth to Canadians, like I said before, based on facts, and we are doing politics differently because we don't have a new electoral campaign before each election. We created that party based on convictions and ideas, and our four principles are individual freedom, personal responsibility, respect, and fairness, and all our policies are in line with these principles. And what I said at our first election in 2019, it was the same thing in 2021, our second election for us. And at the next election, maybe in Canada, will be early 2025. That will be the same. So fighting to build, a movement in Canada, and, that movement would be successful. It's just a question of time.
Yeah, I have no doubt in that, Maxime, because you'll make sure that's the case. Tess, tell us about, in under 2 minutes, what the world, and I know that's going to be a difficult one because you are doing so much. What is the World Council for Health doing at the moment?
Well, our mission is the Great Reset, as opposed to the Great Reset. So we're about empowering health and sovereignty, and we want people to really seize this as an opportunity, because great change has arrived, and you can either choose the Great Reset or just walk into it blindly, or you can really start making choices and take this great change as an opportunity to really reflect and get, and rectify and set yourselves free. So we've got a country level strategy where we're decentralizing or dispersing control of health and sovereignty. So getting the country councils to then decentralize or disperse, because what we ultimately want is individuals to be their own councils for health. And to facilitate this, we've launched a new Transform Your Health Guide, which is a practical guide to disease prevention. So to prevent metabolic diseases, amongst which are cancer and inflammatory conditions and so on. So to help people transform their health. And we also have a detox and well-being guide to help people do short programs to really clear out the toxins and reduce their risk of disease. So we're very much about preventative health, natural health, and holistic lifestyle. And hopefully, we hope to inspire people to really take control of their health.
Yeah, and you're very modest, Tess, always. You never overhype things, but you really should. Tell us how many country councils now you've launched, because it is quite an achievement, what you've done.
We've activated 40 country councils, which means they're all in different stages of development. You can imagine there's a initial accord that's signed and pledges. The Better Way principles are what guide us. It's the glue between in the agreements with country steering committees, and then there's getting media up, getting the websites up. That's a process. Formulating what their focus is going to be, because they are autonomous and they all have their different areas that are important to their people, so they're all at various stages, but certainly we have 40 that have at least done the first part, which is getting the documents signed. And the documents are not onerous, by the way. It's more about making sure that the steering committee have the integrity and can bear and are aligned with the ethos of the Better Way principles.
Yeah, that is truly amazing. And it's why, Tess, I've worked with you in the past, because I really do believe in the World Council for Health. If you're watching this and you've not heard of them before, please get to the website and find all out about them, because they are doing fantastic work across the world. And Maxime, to you as well. Obviously, you were with the Conservatives, didn't you? And you didn't like the way they were going, so you resigned, and here you are today leading your own party. And I think, given the state of politics in Canada, I think you do have a real good chance in the next general election there, because it's clear people want to reject Trudeau's way of doing things. So good luck to you both. This won't be the last time that we speak, I'm sure, but it will be on TNT. So thank you, Dr. Tess Lawrie and Maxime Bernier. Thank you very much.
You are about to hear
Today's News Talk and the voice of freedom. We're Today's News Talk, TNT.